Here we have a 1996 Vortec 4.3 Chevrolet GM engine out of a gentleman's boat. Somebody had rebuilt the short block on this thing, and you can see we got some smoke coming out because we just started it on the bench here. This thing, they put like 3 connecting rods in backwards, and that was pressing the rods up against the pistons funnily. Is that a word, funnily? Anyway, and that was binding. So what did they do to correct that? Well, they had a 2020 crank in it, so they just put, smaller, bigger and bigger bearings until it turned over instead of figuring out what the hell it is they did wrong. Unfortunately for this gentleman, he bought the boat like that, and every single bearing in it, and along with one connecting rod and the crankshaft, were all completely toast. Luckily, it didn't spin any in the main saddles, and we were able to take this engine apart, replace the crankshaft, all the bearings, correct the connecting rods, replace one of the connecting rods. Of course, we replaced the oil pump, gaskets, and a lot of other things, oil, spark plugs, blah, blah, blah. And we always like to start them up when we can on the bench to make sure they're good. We did test the oil pressure just for the engine cranking and the spark plugs out, and we had about 55 pounds just cranking. So that was good. And we don't have the mechanical gauge on it now because I asked him to pull it off. Don't ask me why I asked him to pull it off, but I did. And anyway, it's a dusty old motor, and it's kind of ugly, but it is rebuilt even though it's ugly. And we fired it up, and the carburetor was having some problems and leaking. So we tapped on it with a hammer a little bit. We ran a little bit. We adjusted the carburetor and verified that, and I think we got it running pretty good. Of course, we put a new fuel filter. This has electric fuel pump, so that's helpful. So we're able to draw fuel right out of the gas can. We put a primer bulb to give it its initial prime, but it doesn't really need it because the fuel pump was working well. So this is Joseph, and this is Kenneth, and we're gonna show the customer and the audience here how this thing runs. Now, in this electronic ignition, it's got the Mercruiser ignition system, but literally to hotwire these things, how simple is it, Joseph? You hook a power wire to the positive side of the coil, and you touch it to the battery, right? And the fuel pump comes on, and away she goes. She's got spark and everything. So we're gonna hook that up, and Joseph's gonna start it up. Let's see if she'll crank right up without any fuel. Go ahead. There she goes. So a little moisture in the exhaust or steam. It's kind of cold here today. It's about 56. So that's water coming out of the cooling passages. Runs good, huh? So now it's ready to have the belt put on it. Be cleaned up a little bit more and put it. Runs good. Oh, it died. Why did it die? It might be hot.
Maybe fuel is enough.
Oh. Hey, I don't think it's hot. Let's see what the head temperature is. Yeah, it's still pretty cold, right? Might have just run out of gas. Fire it up again. Let's see. Wait. I guess maybe I just let off. Kick the idle mixture up. That carburetor probably isn't in the best of shape. We got these set at 1.5 tons. And we're gonna go a little bit more. I cleaned it up a little bit. This is a little tighter. Oh, there you go. I woke it up. So carburetor probably got a little trash in it. Maybe a little run time will cure that up without rebuilding it. Walker's over there checking with the laser to make sure we're not cooking it. And I'm happy with it. Shut it down. Start it one more time. Nice. That's how we want it to start. Anyway, that's a 1996 4.3 Mercruiser. That's a balance shaft motor, so it has the balance shaft on top. It has the plastic timing cover. And anyway, we're glad it's done and it runs good.